Gomez for vet bills after her cat was injured by Melani's dogs.
Court come to order. All rise.
Be seated, please.
Kevin.
Hello, Judge. Case 1054, Gardamez versus Gomez.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Galdamez, it is your claim that the defendant's dogs attacked your cat. The defendant has a quite different story. I read your papers, and it appears to me that, based upon what I read, you were not present when this incident occurred.
That is true.
When did it occur?
It happened on the night of April 19th. It was on a Thursday. It was around 9:30 at night.
What kind of cat do you have?
I have a tabby cat.
How old is the cat?
She's 16.
Indoor, outdoor cat?
Indoor, both. Outdoor.
Indoor and outdoor?
Well, now she's strictly an indoor cat.
But she was an indoor,
Yeah,
outdoor?
Indoor, outdoor.
It looks, based upon your complaint, that the cat wasn't in your custody when this incident occurred. Explain that to me.
So me and my husband just moved to Sacramento area. So we were doing that whole trek. So the cat's always lived with my mom since I was a teenager. So I was in the process of moving the cat with me in Sacramento, and then this occurred.
So the cat was with your mother?
Correct.
Okay, so you were not there, and I see that there are no witnesses. So you have to present evidence to me that demonstrates that the defendant's dogs, you have 3 dogs according to you, that the defendant's dogs were responsible for what you claim was a cat attack. And the burden of proof is on you, not on her.
Okay.
So I'm ready.
Okay, so there was an incident with my cat.
Yes.
I left my residence in the Sacramento area, came back to my mom's house to get the attention to my cat, and then I took her to the nearest vet clinic. They took her in right away. I said that I was told.
Oh, you can't tell me what you were told. You can't tell me what anybody said to you. I'll look at the vet's notes.
Okay.
If you have them.
Yeah,
Do you have them?
Vet notes. So this is pretty much everything that they did.
No, just give me the vet notes.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay.
They're there.
Heather hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
Well, the report from the vet is certainly fulsome and indicates that the cat was in fact bitten. And I assume you took pictures of the cat.
No, we have a video though of the attack.
I would like to see that.
Okay.
Since that would probably be your only evidence.
Yeah.
So clearly, based on this, the cat was attacked, and you say you have a video that demonstrates that it was the defendant's dog who attacked your cat.
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
Judy and Sarah turn to a television screen. A video of 3 dogs attacking a cat. Two people try to intervene as one of the dogs grabs the cat in its mouth and flings it. The cat runs under a car. Judy turns to Melani.
Well, there appeared to be 2 people walking 3 dogs. Was that you and someone else?
Yes, me and my sister.
And it clearly shows that the dogs were on a leash.
I mean...
No, that's what it shows.
I mean, it looks like... I mean, she clearly lost control of the dog.
Okay, Ms. Gomez, do you want to tell me, since there is some evidence, and you acknowledge that you and your sister were walking 3 dogs, and the 3 dogs were all leashed?
All leashed, 100%, all
leashed.
the time.
And it does appear that the cat came out of the bushes.
Yes, right there, the neighbor's house.
That's what it looks like. The cat came out of the bushes, right in the middle of the 3 dogs. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like to you?
It does, yeah.
Right.
Exactly what happened.
And then...
But she also doesn't leave her dogs leashed 100% all the time because her dogs attacked a neighbor back in 2017, and I also got the police report for that as well.
Who cares?
Okay.
That all could have been true, but on this night, her dogs were all leashed, and your cat jumped out of the bushes right in the middle. Who knows what happened? She's going to tell me her version of what happened. Okay. And while you don't see it very clearly here, it's certainly, I see that the cat jumped out to where the dogs were walking quietly. That's part of the risk that you take when you have an indoor-outdoor cat. If her dogs weren't leashed, I may feel differently, but she's going to tell me what happened. Go ahead.
So I always walk down this street, it's right.
Don't tell me always. On April 19th,
On April
you and
19th.
your sister were walking your 3 dogs. What
Yes.
kind of dogs were they?
I have a husky, which is Kovu. He's 8 years old. I have a mastiff Anatolian Shepherd mix. She's 4 years old. And then I have a Rottweiler mix that's also 4 years old. I've got them since they were 3 months old.
All of them.
All of them, puppies. Separate times, but yeah.
Do you and your sister live together?
Yes.
At what time did this occur?
It was probably 9:30, 10.
How long had you been out walking?
We had just started, so that was actually 2 houses down from my house. So we had just started our walk that night.
Tell me what happened.
Caption coming up.
If you want to keep your cat safe, keep your cat in your house.
I mean,
would it be the game warden's fault if a possum got your cat?
Yeah.
No, it would be your fault.
And later today,
All of the texts say that you said, let me be your knight in shining armor, I love you, but there was never any mention of alone until I love you and thank you for helping.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Heather and Meilani.
Heather Goldamez claims dog owner Meilani Gomez is responsible for vet bills after her cat was attacked by Meilani's dogs.
Tell me what happened.
So we were walking down, and yes, what appears at first we weren't sure it was a cat. We have a lot of raccoons and a lot of possums in the area, so we just saw an animal jump out. My dogs freaked out, we freaked out. Then we saw it was a cat, so it was a cat and dog fight altercation. We tried our best to split them up.
Now look here. Tell me, the cat jumped out.
Yes, of the bush that was right there.
Okay.
Onto the sidewalk where we were walking straight.
And I know it all happened very fast. Are you prepared to tell me exactly what happened, or did it all happen too quickly?
Yeah, so the cat came out, and then I remember that first he was with the husky, and then
When you say first he was with
like
my
first
husky.
it got to my husky and him were going at it first.
When you say going at it, you have to describe more
Okay,
fully to me.
It jumped on it. It jumped on my husky. And then the others saw that this is an animal, and they came in to try and, get into him. And then eventually I was able to pull my husky towards the end, and I tied him to go ahead and help my sister get the other 2. And that's when the cat ran underneath the car and stayed there, did not come out. I stood, waited about 20 minutes. All the neighbors came out, but not the owner of the cat. And I was confused because I thought the cat belonged to the house that it was in front of. Turns out that's not even the house, and the house is across the street, again, late at night. And so I thought I was talking to the owner. Turns out it's not the owner.
Okay. You want her to pay the vet bills.
Yes.
She's not going to. You don't have a case.
I don't have a case?
No.
Why is that?
She had 3 leash dogs. Based upon what I saw, your cat precipitated whatever fight occurred by jumping out of the bushes onto where they were walking. Your cat was not only not in your control, you weren't even in the same county as your cat. You don't know where it was or what it was doing. You have no proof that just because your cat was injured doesn't mean she's responsible.
Well, I mean, it was her dogs.
So what?
I understand that she leash her animals, but if my dog attacked somebody, I would pay.
No,
for
we're
them.
we're not talking about dogs. We're talking about your cat that was totally out of your control, that jumped in the middle of dogs, and they started a cat and dog fight. And she had her dogs, but your cat was the precipitant, jumped right in the middle of those dogs. They're animals. If you want to keep your cat safe, keep your cat in your house.
I mean,
would it be the game warden's fault if a possum got your cat?
Yeah.
No, it would be your fault. It would be your fault. It's not her fault.
But it's her dogs.
So what?
So, I mean...
The cat fight started because of your cat.
So, I mean, if this is...
No, this is not a back and forth, madam. I just answered you.
Okay.
The fight was precipitated by your cat that was under no one's control. These are animals. You let the cat out, or your mother let the cat out because you say, well, that's the cat's natural instinct. It likes to be outside. People can't do that with dogs because there are laws about it. Somehow, legislators aren't smart enough about cats because cats can cause just as much damage as a dog.
Yeah, but my cat didn't cause damage.
Just a second. I don't know that. I can tell you that your cat precipitated this fight. And she's not responsible for your vet bills. And now you're smart enough to keep your cat indoors, your 16-year-old cat, which was an indoor-outdoor cat because of you and your mother. If you want to keep a cat safe and protected from cars that are speeding too fast, if you want to keep an animal safe, and you keep it under your control. If you want to lose control of what happens to your animal, you let your animal roam around without any supervision. Your case is dismissed. We're finished.
It is adjourned.
Melanie, then Heather.
It actually went exactly how I expected it. I'm not surprised at all.
I'm not happy with the decision. I think Melanie is a horrible pet owner.
I think it's funny that somehow Heather thinks I'm a horrible pet owner.
It is pretty risky, but my cat's lived there for the past 12 years.
Oh, it was definitely scary. My dogs aren't around cats, so it was totally unpredictable how they were going to react.
She's fine now, but you know, she's definitely slowed down, and she's not going outside anytime soon.
You know, I'm just glad that this went exactly how I hoped it would.
I'm just glad it's done.
You know, I really gave that plaintiff a lot of latitude because really the burden was on her to demonstrate to me that through no fault of her cats, these dogs attacked the cat. Certainly the defendant wasn't identifiable in the evidence that she presented. So she really had no case. But even looking at the video, it was clear to me that the defendant and her sister were following the rules. They were walking their dogs, they were leashed, they seemed calm. And I do think that people who have domesticated cats, but they allowed to be indoor or outdoor cats, assume a certain amount of risk when they let their cat roam free outside. And it's not the fault of a car that hits it when it's running across the street, and it's not the fault of dog owners whose dogs are leashed and doing the right thing if your cat jumps in the middle of 3 dogs and they get into a cat and dog fight. I know she doesn't understand that, but now at least she learned her lesson. The cat's indoors all the time. So that was a good lesson.
Kevin.
Case number 1056, Steinberg versus McIntyre. All parties, please step forward.
Thomas Steinberg is suing former girlfriend Lindsay McIntyre for unpaid loans.
You met the defendant on a dating app.
That is correct.
That's the way people meet each other today.
Correct.
So you scroll through pictures. Is that what happens?
Scroll through web profiles, pictures of them, read what they're about, decide whether you want to message them, and I made the first message to her, and she responded.
And when was that?
December 2020, it was right at the end of the year.
And when was it that you met the defendant for the first time?
March 2020.
Where?
We decided, because we've been talking back and forth every day through phone calls and text messages and sending each other pictures, I decided for a first date, I felt comfortable with her coming to meet me at my residence in Moore Park, California.
What do you mean you'd be more comfortable her coming to you? That's certainly less chivalrous than you going to her.
Right. I would not feel comfortable going to somebody else's house, but I felt comfortable saying, you can come down my way to me and stay at my place, and we can have our first in-person meeting that way.
How far away do you live from each other?
Hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours.
It's more convenient for you.
Correct.
Do you have siblings?
No siblings.
I figured.
Thomas smiles. Caption coming up.
You're his mother. Tell him to stay off dating apps for a while.
I will.
Tell him to find something else to do with the time. Tell him to watch streaming programs.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Thomas and Lindsay.
Thomas Steinberg claims his former girlfriend, Lindsay McIntyre, refuses to pay back several loans.
So she came down in March and she stayed at your house in March.
Correct.
It is your claim, sir, that at some point she complained to you that her car was being repossessed and you loaned her some money.
That is correct.
And that's what you're doing here today. Her response is that you were merely being chivalrous. She never asked you to get her car out of impound where it had been taken after it was repossessed. You did that on your own. That's
Correct.
what the case is about.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How did you find out she was having trouble with her car, and what month?
It was in April of 2021.
Okay. Now, by April of 2021, you had seen her at least once.
Correct. I remember 2 or 3 visits before the car got repossessed.
Okay. So you had your first visit in March. She came down to your house. Did you ever go to her house?
The only time I went to her house was to pick her up to handle the matters of the car, but I never physically went in her house.
So what you're telling me is she came to your house for 2 or 3 times.
Correct.
And each of the times that she came to your house, I assume that you had dinner and had intimate relations.
Yes.
And then you're going to tell me in April something happened.
Yes, ma'am.
Why don't you tell me?
Her car was repossessed. I got a text message and a phone call.
Do you have the text message?
I have the evidence here, Your Honor.
No, that's a whole bunch of stuff. A text would be in your phone.
Yes, ma'am.
Get it.
Thomas scrolls through his text messages.
From there down.
He hands his phone to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reads a message in which Thomas offers Lindsay money.
How much money did he give you prior to your car being repossessed?
I believe like $100.
Think hard.
I'm not sure, Your Honor.
How much did you give her before this in money? Because these text messages clearly indicate that there was other money that you gave her before this.
Correct. And the cash advance I gave her was around $500.
Well, all of the texts preliminarily say exactly what she says in her answer, that you said to her, oh my God, that's so terrible. I know you need your car. Let me be your knight in shining armor. I love you and I want to help you and let me do this for you. And she says no, and you say, no, I want to do this for you. I'll call Toyota and I'll take a cash advance from my credit union. But there was never any mention of a loan until I love you and thank you for helping me, but I will be paying back this loan. I can pay it back in 2 months. That's what you say. So, did you?
No, I did not.
Why not?
Because we were going to work on it together as a couple. There was
No, there was no couple here. This was you saying, thank you so much for helping me. I will pay you back this loan. That's
Right.
what you
there
say
were
to
other
him.
discussions, not on text message, between he and I, that if we were to stay together, we would work together on paying off the loan as
But
a
you
couple.
didn't stay together. You left him.
Yes, I did.
Well, so then you have a loan.
Lindsay shrugs.
If there was a later discussion that you want me to believe, which may have been possible, that if you stayed together as a couple, you would together pay back this loan and it wouldn't be a problem. But then you say, Thomas helped me retrieve my vehicle. He became too attached. I started to feel smothered. In May, I decided to break things off. He was moving too fast and smothering me in the process. Well, then you have to pay him back this $2,500.
Okay. It's fine.
Judy grins.
Okay. It was $2,500 that you took out. How much did you give her of the $2,500?
Your Honor, the first time I got the loan out, it was $2,500. Then 2 days later, I refinanced the loan at the credit union and gave her an additional $2,500 to bring it up to $5,000.
Is that what
Why?
happened? Really?
Why?
Yeah.
Because she needed money to get to her job in Arizona and additional money for expenses since
Show
she was
me.
out of work.
Show me. Here.
Judy hands Thomas's phone to Kevin, who returns it to him.
While he's looking for that, Miss McIntyre, so you've already been embarrassed once. Let's not do it more than once. Did he give you any other money other than this $2,500?
Yes.
When?
Shortly after we went and got my car back.
How much money did he give you in addition to the $2,500?
$2,000.
And
But do you want to hear the total amount of the loan and why else he got it out, or?
well, right now I have $4,500. He's only suing for $48,000. So
Okay.
the $25,000 I already know was a loan because you said it's a loan. I'm going to pay you back in 2 months.
Yeah, because he wouldn't take no
Just
for an
as-
answer.
No.
So that's fine.
Well, that's all right. That's what
Yeah.
you said. And then you just filled that in with me a moment ago and said something like, we said if we stayed together,
We would work on it
we
together
would work
and
on
pay
it,
it
but then
off.
you broke up with him.
Yes, I did.
Okay, so now you have to pay back the loan.
That's
so
fine.
I want you to tell me what the other $2,000 was for and what were the conditions on that money being given to you.
That, again, I would work and we would pay it off together.
Okay.
Because he took an $11,000 loan out for his medical bills and for the car.
How much did he give you? $4,500 altogether.
Yes, ma'am.
Judgment for the plaintiff, $4,500. Listen, you're his mother. Tell him to stay off dating apps for a while.
I will.
Tell him to find something else to do with his time. Tell him to watch streaming programs.
Thank you. Court is adjourned.
Thomas, then Lindsay.
The decision went well. She got what was coming to her to pay me back because you can't just take money and not pay someone back. That's the principle of life.
He took out a loan a lot larger than what he wants to talk about.
That is true. I did take out more money. That was for my expenses, not for her. $5,000 was for her expenses.
Things that we did together that we were going to pay off together.
When we broke up and she wouldn't send her first payment in.
And I won't do it ever again.
I'm going to stay off the dating apps and not lend someone money again because it doesn't work out well.
Judy.
So I'm interested. You know, the case is pretty straightforward. She acknowledged that it was a loan. But I remember when these dating apps started, you know, you had Christian dating, J dating for Jewish people to meet each other. There was an app for people over 50. People over 50 turned out to be actually people over 80. So there were lots of surprises at the other side of the door. Did you ever meet anybody on a dating app?
I have not.
But have you looked on dating apps?
Sure.
I think that you really have to be so careful. What do your friends do in order to be careful?
There's a lot of things. I think you have to speak for a prolonged period of time, sort of like that plaintiff. If it were me, I wouldn't go to someone's home on the first meeting in person.
Is there some common sense rule about that? You're supposed to go to a public place?
For some people.
For some people?
For some people. I just think...
Cliché for military memorabilia and the return of a Rottweiler.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy enters.
Have a seat, please.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning, sir.
Case number 1123, Lily versus Rubichet.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Lilly, this case involves the custody of a dog.
Correct, Your Honor.
The defendant is your former stepmother. Are you divorced yet?
The divorce is still in process, ma'am.
Okay, so she is still legally your stepmother, but was married to your father. You're in the military.
As of 2 weeks ago, I am officially a veteran, Your Honor.
You were in the military for how long?
Yes, 5 years.
What branch?
Marine Corps.
And where were you stationed?
I was stationed in Camp Pendleton, California for the first couple of years.
From when to when?
From 2017 until 2019.
And then?
I was stationed in Camp Mujuk, South Korea.
From when to when?
2019 to 2021.
Sometime while you were in California, is California where you live?
No, ma'am, it's Texas.
While you were stationed in California, according to your complaint, in 2018, you rescued a dog, an elderly dog.
Yes.
How old?
At that time, we were unsure, and we're still unsure to this day. We were guessing around 8 to 11.
In 2018?
Yes.
And it's a male dog?
Correct.
What kind? Rottweiler?
Rottweiler.
Tell me where you got him from.
It's Dog Rehabilitation Center. It's located in Escondido, California. They pretty much rehabilitate dogs that are on death row. Rocky was one of them.
So you rescued him from there. In what month in 2018?
March.
Who were you living with at that time?
At that time, I had government quarters assigned to me.
The dog's name is Rocky, right?
Yes.
Rocky was living with you in government quarters.
So I had government quarters assigned. Oops, sorry.
That's either a yes or a no.
No.
Where was Rocky living starting in March of 2018?
Rocky and I were both living with James, who was the founder of DRC Canine.
Well, you had government quarters, but you weren't living in them.
Correct.
And you and James were a couple?
No. I volunteered a lot at the shelter, and so he offered me a room, volunteered, did a lot of the work, and I essentially got to live there for free.
And when did you do your Marine Corps work?
Daily. So I would work, during the day, 8 to 5, and then from 5 to about midnight, I was doing the dog shelter.
And I assume that situation existed until you were deployed to South Korea.
Correct.
In what month were you deployed to South Korea?
I left for South Korea June 2019.
So at that point, you had Rocky from March of 2018 to June. June what were you deployed?
I left June 13th.
So a year and a couple of months, Rocky was in your custody.
Correct.
Between March of 2018 and June of 2019, did you always live with Rocky at the shelter?
Yes.
Now tell me what happened when you were deployed to South Korea.
So I had gotten my orders.
In what month did you get your orders?
I received orders October 2018.
So at that time, in October of 2018, you would have the dog for just a few months.
Yes.
When you knew you were going to be deployed in June.
Yes.
Okay. So what did you do with the dog to make preparations for your deployment, and when?
So because I was already living with James, and he is the founder of the shelter that I had rescued him from, so I made the boarding preparations. He was going to continue living with James because that's what he was comfortable with. When I brought up the plans of me going to...
Hold on 1 second. So you said he was going to continue to stay with James because you said he was most comfortable with him.
He was already comfortable in that environment.
He was comfortable in that environment.
Yes.
During that time, that brief time that you were with the dog, there is some suggestion in your complaint that the dog was sick.
Yes.
When was that?
I can look through the vet records. I believe it was June 2018. So a few months after I'd adopted him, he needed surgery.
And did you do that?
I did.
Did the vet, when the vet did the surgery on Rocky, estimate his age?
Yes, they estimated it at about 8 to 10 years. So they stayed in the range that we were already at.
And that's in 2018?
Correct.
So now Rocky might be 12 or 13, right?
I would say so.
Just asking you, do you know the lifespan of a dog of Rocky's size, Rottweiler? You check that for me, Sarah.
From my knowledge, it could be anywhere from 11 to 16 years. Some can go longer, some don't make it as long.
From Rottweiler HQ, it says that they live 8 to 12 years around. Is pretty good for a big dog. A larger
That's
Rottweiler.
From Rottweiler. Mm-hmm. Okay. So Rocky's sort of coming to the end of his term.
Yes.
So right now we're at the point where you're going to South Korea. You certainly can't take the dog with you to South Korea. I want you to tell me how the dog segues from the person who runs the shelter, who said he would keep him because you felt as if you were more comfortable there, to your then stepmother's house.
So when I had started making all my plans, Yvonne and my dad were asking about what am I going to do with Rocky? At that time, I told him he's going to stay in California. I'm going to board him there. It's easier. I already know what the plan's going to be, and I know that he's going to be taken care of. At that time, Yvonne had offered, and she said, hey, let him stay with me. We're family. Let's keep it in the family, so if something happens, he's already here. After some thought, deliberation, and speaking with her and my dad, I did agree, and I said, okay, I'll be able to get him as soon as I come back, and I have a place of my own that I can bring him home. Obviously, if I don't have somewhere to take him, I can't get him. So she had offered, and then I let her know, if you have any requirements as far as money, if you need vet bills, food, whatever it is, please just let me know, and I will pay it. She said, nope, this is what stepmothers are for. Don't worry about it. We're good. And then I continuously offered to pay for her services, throughout the time that he was with her. And I have that evidence if you'd like to see it as well.
So you brought the dog from where you were to Texas?
Yes.
Month and day that you left Rocky at your dad and your stepmom's house. I want the month and the day.
June 8th.
Did you stay there with him?
I did stay there for a few days, and then I went to go visit my grandparents before I'd left, and I thought it'd be a good opportunity to make sure it was going to be something that worked. And then I was gone for 2 or 3 days, and then I came back, and then I left for South Korea.
But the dog consistently remained in your father and stepmother's home after June 8th of 2019.
Yes.
And the dog remains in that same place today.
Yes.
It appears from the vet records, in any event, since you've been gone, that he's been very well taken care of.
Well, I would assume that she would, because that was our agreement, Your Honor.
No. I don't assume anything.
Caption coming up. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Sabrina and Yvonne.
Sabrina Lilly claims her former stepmother, Yvonne Rubichet, refuses to return her Rottweiler and her military memorabilia.
Okay, other than the brief moment that you saw the dog in 2021 when you went to the house unannounced, you have not seen the dog since the 8th.
Correct.
Okay. Between June 19th, 2019, and when you were discharged 2 weeks ago, I want you to tell me, other than that brief visit, when was the last time you had communication with the defendant that you can show me?
That I can show you?
From South Korea.
April 27th.
May I see it, please?
Yes. It's at the bottom there. We had tried calling each other.
Sabrina hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
What is April 27th? I don't see any message there.
It cut off.
Well, I don't do cut-off messages. When was the last message that I could see between...
Then it would be the one above that, Your Honor.
Okay, and that was December of 2020.
Yes. Your Honor, if I...
Shh. Okay, you're communicating with her December of 2020, which was the last communication you have that you can show me, and your stepmother at that time, were you still together with your husband?
No, ma'am. We separated in September of 2020.
Okay. And I assume that you knew that your father and stepmother had separated.
I didn't find out until October.
Who told you?
My dad.
Did he tell you that he had left the house?
Yes, he...
Yes is the answer. And that when he left the house, he left Rocky with your stepmother.
Yes.
So it really wasn't your father taking care of Rocky, it was really your stepmother.
Yes, and that was the agreement.
Just as... And the emails that were exchanged back and forth clearly suggest that even after your father and your stepmother are separated, and you knew that you were perfectly comfortable with her having the dog. Because at the end, he's fat, but I don't know why he follows me everywhere, and he's basically human. And then your stepmom says, okay, Sabrina, it's 12:30 over here, and I have to get up in the morning. I'm sleepy, so you have a good night. I love you. And then you respond, good night. So that was the last communication you had between December and June. So a 6-month period elapsed without any communication. Do you want to tell me why?
So at that time, I wasn't able to come home because of COVID. I was in South Korea, so we were the first wave.
Tell me why there was no communication.
I have a text to kind of show what I'm about to say. She started getting kind of finicky when we would talk. She would kind of turn it against my dad, and she'd try to throw my dad under the bus. At that point, I had no control of the situation. I couldn't do anything about it at the moment. So I just kind of kept it light and positive throughout the rest of the time.
I would just like to see those messages, light and positive. Anything after December of 2020.
So these are conversations, and then these are Facebook posts and comments.
Okay,
so they're
great.
Separate.
Thank you.
Sabrina hands documents to Kevin, who brings them to Judy. She reviews them.
When was the last time you saw the dog?
The day that I left for South Korea, June 13th.
Okay. This is a post December 9th, 2020, and you say, hi, I'm coming home for Christmas.
Yes.
That was you. I miss Rocky a ton and want to take him for a few days while I'm home. I'm not too sure on the dates, but I can let you know over the next few days. December of 2020, did you come home for Christmas? The answer is yes.
Yes.
Okay. What date did you arrive home in December of 2020?
December 16th.
Where did you go?
I went to Fort Worth, Texas.
Who lives there?
My sister and my nephew.
How long were you home?
I was home for about 28 days.
In the 28 days, did you see Rocky?
Unfortunately.
That's a yes or a no?
No.
Did you make an attempt to see Rocky?
Yes.
Tell me what attempt you made to see Rocky, because I'm formally inviting you to spend wine night or a day with me and Rocky, the three of us. Of course, you can take him for a day or two.
So I had driven down to Houston to go see him, because that's where he's located now. And then my aunt passed. It was sudden, and so I had to recoup and put all my efforts into being there for my family.
Okay. You came home for the holidays on December 16th.
Correct.
On what date did your aunt pass?
I could not tell you that at this time.
But you didn't go and see Rocky?
No.
And you were home for a month?
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and you and your husband separated in September of 2020?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have Rocky's vet bills with you?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see them.
It's not included in his cost for dog food. It's just
No, I'm
bills.
just...
Yvonne hands documents to Kevin, who brings them to Judy.
I just want to see how he's been taken care of.
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of pain was he having?
Arthritis pain, ma'am. Most Rottweilers get arthritis in their hind legs.
Okay. I'm going to tell you the only thing that disturbed me, Miss Lily, about your complaint, because as far as I'm concerned, this is about the custody of a dog that you haven't seen in almost 3 years, who was an old dog and whose time on this earth is, finite. Never know. Right now, he has arthritis and he's being treated for his arthritis. You did say, however, that you showed up in the summer of 2021, I don't know when, at Yvonne's house to surprise her. Well, that was a big surprise. You really came there to pick up the dog. You hadn't made any...
I did not.
You did not?
That was not the plan, no.
Okay, well, I suggest that to you because you said, you know, she was getting sort of not herself on the phone after she and your father separated, so you just sort of kept it light. That is what...
Yes.
So one would suggest if things weren't great, you would have given her a heads up that you were coming. You hadn't seen her in 3 years. That would be a fair statement, and it's just common sense. But then I look here and you say, he looked horrible. He was overweight. Well, I'm looking at the vet records, and Rocky's vet records don't suggest that he was massively overweight, because I see that in 2019, he weighed 106.5 pounds. In March of 2021, he weighed 114 pounds. Most people would be sort of happy with that kind of weight gain. So it wasn't that the dog had become obese. I don't know how much a Rottweiler weighs.
Well, for a Rottweiler his size and his stature, he should be between 95 and 105 pounds.
Well, all I can tell you is when she got the dog, he was 106 pounds, which means, according to what you just told me, he was overweight. So that was the only thing in your complaint that actually caused me some concern, that he was not being cared for. But quite frankly, I looked at these medical records, and he was regularly seen at a vet. He had regular toenail trims. He was taken for treatment for his arthritis. And it appears from the vet records, in any event, since you've been gone, that he's been very well taken care of.
Well, I would assume that she would, because that was our agreement, Your Honor.
No. I don't assume anything.
Caption coming up.
Seeing your sister was more important than going to spend a week with your dog.
That's not the case, Your Honor. She was using drugs and she was abusing alcohol. I can't be around that as an active duty Marine.
Just a second. That's baloney.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Sabrina and Yvonne.
Sabrina Lilly has accused her former stepmother, Yvonne Rubichet, of wrongfully keeping her Rottweiler and neglecting him. She also claims Yvonne refuses to return her belongings.
Okay, all I know is I have to make a judgment today, a judgment as to whether, because of your actions, and I say this because I understand your position, but because of your actions, I can find a scintilla of evidence that you abandoned the dog to her care. Because, quite frankly, I think it would be cruel to uproot him from where he is now, where he's been for 3 years, without you, and put him in a new place with a new owner for the last sliver of his life. I actually think it would be cruel. A really good mother would not want that to happen.
I agree, Your Honor, except she's not in the state to do it. She's using drugs. She was drunk every other night. Like, that's why I stopped talking to her, because it's hard to talk to her. And then on top of that, I get maybe the vet records show one thing, but I saw him in my own, like with my own eyes. He has fat lumps. Like, he has 3 or 4 fat lumps around his abdomen and on his back.
A dog gets old and gets sick. This dog is on the tail end of the spectrum of life for a large dog. I mean, I'm not a vet, but I've had dogs that are at that stage in their life. He's getting around, he's being treated for arthritis, but they get tumors, they get sick. Right now, he knows your home. You don't know where he came from before and what kind of abuse he had before you rescued him. You rescued him. He was with you for a year. Then he hasn't seen you in 3 years.
It's been 2 years, Your Honor.
Actually, more than 2 years.
2 years and 11 days, and I can prove that as well.
No, it's not 2 years and 11 days. You said you left in June. We're now, tomorrow we start October.
2 years and 11 days when I saw him that night.
Not that night. I'm not talking that night. I'm talking about since he's lived with you. That's almost 2.5 years. And it's a long time in the span of a dog's life that just has a little sliver left. And what I'm suggesting to you is the tough position that I'm in, because is the dog yours? Technically. Did the fact that you came home for a month and failed to see this dog that you want now to uproot from its home suggest to me, as a fact finder, that at that moment, seeing your sister and seeing your family was more important than going to spend a week with your dog?
That's not the case, Your Honor. I was active duty military, and from what I'd heard and what I'd seen, she was using drugs and she was abusing alcohol. I can't be around that as an active duty Marine.
Just a second. That's baloney. That's not what you told me a moment ago. A moment ago, you said you went to your sister's house, you were going to see the dog, and then an aunt died suddenly, and that's why you didn't see it. So that's a lot of chatter, and it's a difficult place for you to be in. But I think you have to find another rescue dog. According to what I've read here, you really need a dog that you want to train to be a service kind of animal.
And if that's something that happens in the future...
Just a second. I'm talking now. We've out-talked this case. I said to you, I have to find a hook on which I can hang my hat so that I don't remove a dog that has spent the vast majority of its adult life with this person. That home is the home that he's known for the longest. And I'm comfortable finding that hook with, you came home for a month and you were in the same state and you didn't go and see the dog. I don't care what the reason was. If I'm in the military and I have a child that I haven't seen in 2 years, the first stop that I make is to that child, not to my sister, not to a boyfriend, and you were home for 28 days and you did not. So you can't have the dog back. That's my decision.
What about my military memorabilia?
Medals. Medals are yours.
No, that's not all my memorabilia. I'm missing about $300 worth of pictures. There's a Texas sign with Lily on it.
Would you, just a second.
That's with her dad.
Would you return? Do you have anything else that belongs to her?
No, ma'am.
Where is it? Because I didn't pick up anything, and
Put
you
him
said
out.
I did.
Put him outside.
Sir,
Put him out.
Step this way.
Kevin leads Sabrina's brother, Dewey, away.
Don't lie.
You can make a laugh at the end.
Do you have anything else in your home?
I do not.
If he...
I'm sorry about him.
Ma'am, a moving company picked up all of my husband's belongings, which also had the big Texas board with the L in it, which actually was a present from her older sister to me and my husband.
Okay, but your husband's moving company picked that up.
Yes, ma'am.
I saw it the night that I went to go see Rocky. All of my stuff is still in her house.
That was in June?
Yes.
Okay. The moving company that moved your husband's stuff out, when did that moving company come?
I believe it was August.
Okay. Did you ask your father where your stuff was?
He went through it, I went through it.
So the answer is yes. Do you know what she's talking about?
Yes, ma'am.
What is she talking about?
Her older sister made me and her dad a Christmas gift one year, and it's a big sign of Texas with a big L in the middle of it.
Is that what you're talking about?
And it's just with additional items, Your Honor.
What additional items?
I have 2 picture frames from boot camp, and then I have a glass framed frame that has like etchings in it.
Do you have that?
No, ma'am.
Was that sent to her father?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's talk to your father. We're finished here. Thank you.
Court is adjourned.
Yvonne is interviewed.
It does. It hurts me very much because she's my stepdaughter, and I do love her. I just feel like she's not ready for this dog, and he's on his last legs. He's basically not going to make it another few years. I feel great about it, about Rocky being with me.
Sarah.
That was a bit of a stretch there, that decision.
You're right. And I guess it's because I really think that a loving dog owner would not, at this stage of the game of the dog's life, which is the end game, want to change for the next 6 or 8 months or maybe a year what this dog, who's probably had a very traumatic life anyway, has been through by taking it away from really the only home it's known for almost 3 years. But for the fact that she had come home for that month, December, a year ago, and didn't make her way to see the dog, for whatever reason, gave me that little hook. You know, I really think that, you know, ownership of another living creature would take some responsibility.
Yorkie poos and emotional distress.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy enters.
Be seated, please.
Kevin.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning. Case 1107, Collins versus Jesse.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Collins, the case is really not a difficult one. The facts of it aren't difficult. You and the defendant are neighbors.
Yes.
You know each other.
Yes, Your Honor.
You were going away on vacation, and you have 2 small dogs.
Yes.
You asked the defendant if she would watch the 2 dogs that you had.
Yes.
And along with a bird.
Yes.
Were you paying her?
Yes, I was going to pay her.
How much?
Maybe about 50 or 60 bucks.
Not about. Did you discuss with her that you were
We didn't discuss the price. We just discussed her being paid.
Okay, so there was not a contract between the two of you because a contract would require certain specifics. If you said to her, I'll watch my dog, I'll pay you. Is that what she said?
Correct.
Okay, so that's not a contract. A contract needs specific terms. Anyway, she was watching your dogs, and during the time that the dogs were in her care, they disappeared.
Yes, Your Honor.
And they disappeared, according to your complaint, under the circumstances that would suggest that they were stolen because the defendant showed you the dog's collars that she found when she was searching for the dogs in a parking lot not far from your house.
Right. Yep.
Which would suggest that the dogs didn't run away, but somebody took them.
Correct.
That be a fair statement?
Correct.
We all understand now what this case is about. You want her to compensate you for the two dogs and emotional distress, which is nonsense. When did you leave the dogs with her?
June the 18th.
And how long were you going to be away?
About 5 days.
Had she ever watched the dogs before?
No, I had just gotten them maybe like 3 months prior.
So they were puppies?
Yes, babies.
Where did you get them from?
I bought them from Hoobly. I have a Hoobly account, and they sell and buy dogs. And I met a person that was selling them, and I agreed to buy them. And I drove like 4.5 hours away.
What's Hoobly? Explain that to me.
Hoobly is a dog site where people register to buy and sell puppies.
Had you ever used this site before?
My daughter, I got it from her. She got her dog from Hoobly, so she told me about it, and I signed up, and I purchased dogs as well.
I'm just curious. So this is not a breeder. This is a group.
Yes. Some breeders are in the group, though.
It's sort of like seems like a Craigslist for dogs. People post ads, dogs for sale, looking for dogs, those sorts of things.
How much did you pay for each of the puppies?
$2,500 a piece.
Expensive.
Yes.
What kind of dogs were they?
They were miniature Yorkie poodles, 2 boys.
Have pictures of them?
Yes.
May I see them, please?
Charmaine hands documents to Kevin, who brings them to Judy. She reviews them.
Well, you're giving me more than pictures. Is this what they look like?
Yes.
Cute. So at the time that the defendant was watching them for you, they were about 4 months old?
Yes.
Did you ever discuss with the defendant how much you paid for them?
No, I never discussed how much I paid for them. I just told her that they were very expensive dogs.
She never said that.
Do you have dogs?
I do. I have 3 Esky Jacks. They're American Eskimo Jack Russell Terriers, a designer breed as well.
How much did you pay for them?
I didn't pay for anything for them. They are a litter from my Eskimo that I kept.
And what did you breed your Eskimo with?
So Abigail, she is an American Eskimo miniature. She actually just got out of the fence one day and bred herself with a Jack Russell. And we ended up with 4 puppies, and I got stuck with 3 of them. They're my world.
Okay, so the fence that she got out of is the same area where you let the dogs out?
No.
Okay. Tell me what happened. The dogs disappeared. Tell me what happened on the night that the dogs disappeared.
On the night that the dogs disappeared, we had a power outage. Lightning had struck the transformer.
What was the date?
June 20th.
And where do you live?
Mishawaka, Indiana.
And that was on the 20th of June?
Yes.
You confirm that for me?
I'll look into it.
Power outage. And?
It got very hot. My youngest had already fallen asleep, so I let him sleep in his bed. My oldest was outside watching the power crews, do their work. It got so hot that I let my dogs, which I had done all week, I let them all out back, fully fenced in yard, so they wouldn't get too hot. And in 5 minutes, I went inside, checked on Lonnie, made sure he was okay. I heard my dogs barking.
Well, when you let your dogs out, the puppies went out too?
Yes.
So you let all the dogs out?
Yep.
How old are your dogs?
They are 9.
All of them?
All of them. They're siblings, yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
I let them out. I went back inside to check on my youngest, make sure that Levi was okay out front, and I heard my dogs barking. They only bark when they see something. It could be a squirrel, raccoon, it could literally be anything. I went out there to check on them, and they were nowhere in sight. I have a gate to the back of my property that has a stake going through it to keep it closed. It was open. I called for my dogs. They came right back because they're very well trained. Hers did not. Gucci and Prada were their names. I kept calling for them. All week long, they came right to me. They were not coming to me. So I grabbed
So during the week, how long had you been watching them?
2 days at that point. If her calculation is correct. She left on the 18th.
Okay.
So I grabbed a flashlight. I let my son know that I was going out back. The dogs had gotten out. I had gotten my 3 back, but that the 2 black ones were missing. So I went back there, and I have photos of my backyard. When it's dark, it's pitch black. So with a flashlight, I'm constantly looking. There's 2 little black puppies. So I was looking a good half an hour for them when I found their collars in the parking lot, the liquor store behind my house. And that's when I called the police.
Caption coming up.
I don't know what kind of person carjacks a car and hot wires it and takes somebody else's property. I don't know who does that, but a lot of people do it. So I can't answer your question.
Later.
For the last 2 years, you've been driving the Tahoe.
Correct.
So what are you suing her for?
Because of the damages that the vehicle was in.
You're too late.
No, I have to disagree,
Well,
Judge.
I don't care whether you disagree with me or not.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Charmaine and Beth.
Charmaine Collins claims her neighbor, Beth Jessie, owes for the cost of 2 Yorkie poos after they were lost while in Beth's possession.
Okay, can I see photos of the backyard?
Yep. I also have the police report as well.
Thank you. I have a police report because
I have
the
the
plaintiff
original,
gave me
if that helps.
all this stuff when she gave me pictures.
Mine is an actual copy from the police department.
There was a power outage due to severe weather and tornadoes from the 20th to the 21st.
Did you take the dogs to the vet?
Yes, I took them to the vet. Before I took the dogs to her and let her keep the dogs, I had just taken the dogs to the vet maybe like a couple days prior to get their first shots.
Did you get the dogs chipped?
I didn't get the dogs chipped.
It was a mistake.
Yeah, it was. But that was my first time taking them to the vet. I was supposed to go back and take them June the 25th for their second vaccine, so I was going to get them chipped then. They were so small at the time, you know, that was the first visit, so I decided, okay, well, I'll wait till the next visit to get a microchip. I never thought that, you know, they were going to come up missing so soon.
Okay. You have any proof that the defendant stole your dogs or any way profited from the dogs being taken?
Well, I just feel like...
And I don't want you to tell me what you feel. What you
know
feel, what you
happened
think.
With the dogs, and I believe that she did something with them.
I don't care what you believe.
Well, I know she did something with them.
You know?
Yes.
What you know has to be predicated on a fact. What you believe has to be predicated on a fact in a court. What you believe you can have outside of a courthouse. Here I take proof. What has been presented to me was that a crime was committed, and that crime is theft, not negligence, but a theft, which is a criminal act. And she showed you the collars from the dogs.
Yeah, she returned the collars.
Okay.
I also returned all of their belongings
No,
and the birds.
Belongings is not an issue. The collars, and I'll see the pictures now that you want to show me, Kevin.
Kevin hands photos to Judy.
In the pictures, it shows not only my backyard black, but I tried to use a flash as well just to kind of light up this backyard. Also, my cameras. I have 2 cameras in the front yard and 1 in the backyard that are on all the time. Unfortunately, with the power outage, they were down.
Yeah.
And then the 1 photo is of my 3.
Belief is yours to have. What you think is yours to have. Here you require proof. You left your dogs in the custody of the defendant.
Yes.
In order for her to be responsible for your dog, the cost of your dogs, there has to be some act on her part that displays some sort of a negligence on her part. I don't see that. The yard is fenced.
Your Honor, if you would look at those pictures that I just gave to you,
you gave me, listen to me, you gave me a whole stack of papers. Kevin, you can return all this stuff
the fence shows...
just a second.
Okay.
You can return all this stuff to the plaintiff and have her, when I asked her for pictures of the dog, she gave me up a whole bunch of other stuff that had nothing to do with the dog. Okay. So if she wants to look through and
what she's trying to say and what she accused me of,
just a second.
Your Honor.
If you will look here on this photo, this photo shows the picture of her backyard. The black circle shows pictures of the welding on the gate. The gate doesn't even open. I'm not sure how.
If the gate doesn't open.
No, it doesn't.
If the gate doesn't open, then that means that somebody leaned over and got your dogs. Unless you have proof.
Are you serious?
I have a photo of my fence open.
May I see?
Yeah.
Beth hands her phone to Kevin, who brings it to Judy.
So, on my camera...
Don't.
Judy looks at a photo of an open gate.
The point is, in order for her to be responsible, I have to believe that she, this lady, and I need proof for that, took the collars off your dog, your collars, gave them to you, said that your dogs were stolen, and she sold your dogs for profit, did something with them, and in addition to that, immediately, to cover her tracks, called the police and committed another felony by reporting an act that didn't take place because she had actually stolen the dog. So in order for me to hold her responsible, I have to believe that she committed 2 felonies, one by stealing them and one by filing a false police report. And I don't see any proof of that. I mean, if you loan your car to somebody and they park it in a parking spot designed, and they take the keys to the car and they go inside to a restaurant, and some thief comes, breaks the car window, hot wires the car and steals it, the person who borrowed your car is not responsible for that. If they left the keys in the car, yes, they would be responsible because that was an intervening act of negligence. You understand?
Yeah.
But so far, I haven't heard of any act of negligence that allowed this thief to, whoever it was, to take possession of your puppies. I mean, and they're clearly valuable puppies because they didn't take her dogs. They took valuable young puppies.
Yuppers.
Right.
Do you understand?
Someone that, but my thing is, it's a rainstorm, the power is out, it's raining, it's wet, it's pitch black. In the middle of the night, the puppies are jet black. We don't have an alley, so it's not like traffic is coming back and forth down the alley. And the liquor store is,
in and out all the time.
The liquor store is right behind our house. We do not have a pavement alley that cars can drive through. So my thing is, who would be laying out in the middle of the night after a rainstorm looking to steal some puppies?
I don't know.
Me either.
I don't know. I don't know what kind of person carjacks a car and hot wires it and takes somebody else's property in the middle of the night. I don't know who does that, but a lot of people do it. And I don't know personally anybody that would break into a house during a power outage and take advantage of that kind of darkness in order to commit a crime by stealing. I don't know, but I know a lot of people do it. I don't personally know people that take advantage of a power outage and go in and loot a store. I don't personally know, I don't think anybody who would do that, but I know people do it. So I can't answer your question. All I know is, in order to believe your proposition that the defendant did an act which makes her responsible for this, there has to be some act on her part other than a criminal act. And in order for me to believe that, I have to assume that this lady committed 2 felonies, grand larceny of your puppies and falsely reporting an incident to the police, because she did immediately report it to the police. Those 2 things, and I have no proof of that. Do you understand?
Yes.
I feel terrible for you. I'm sure she felt terrible.
Also, Your Honor, after she got home, not only were the police called another 10 times for harassment because she nonstop verbally abused me, and she did not put up flyers. She did not reach out to Facebook and all the lost sites. She did not post anything.
Well, one of the problems is you waited to have them chipped.
Right.
If they had been chipped, there was a possibility that you might get them back. So that was a choice that you made, but it's something that you could have done before you turned them over to the defendant.
Later.
She's going to sign over the title to the car to you.
I have to disagree.
I don't care what you agree with or disagree with, sir. You don't seem to understand. This isn't a dance. I ask you, you ask me.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Charmaine and Beth.
Charmaine Collins claims her neighbor, Beth Jessie, owes for the cost of 2 Yorkie poos after they were lost while in Beth's possession.
Okay. You waited to have them chipped. If they had been chipped, there was a possibility that you might get them back. because somebody would take them to a vet and then they would see a chip and they would read the chip. So that was a choice that you made. I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm not saying it's your fault, but it's something that you could have done before you turned them over to the defendant to take care of. I mean, that's within your power to do. You're the parent to these two creatures. Anyway, I don't find sufficient evidence to find her responsible for the act of a thief. And in order to prove that she was a thief or anyone acting on her behalf was a thief, you haven't established that to me unless you have proof to the contrary. Do you?
No.
Case is dismissed. Thank you very much.
Court is adjourned.
Charmaine.
She's the judge, so however it goes, I'm sorry about the loss for the puppies, and I hope whoever has them is taking good care of them.
I'm glad that she saw through the lies and the manipulation, that she puts on quite the front.
Her animals are nothing compared to mine, far as in pricing.
To compare my dogs as less inferior, all animals need to be loved and cared for.
Her dogs are old, my dogs were babies, and they're worth a lot of money.
Whoever has them, I really hope that they're loving them as much as I did.
Next time, I'll make sure that's the first thing I'll do, chip the dogs.
Yes, always. Mine are chipped.
Judy and Sarah.
I think a good lesson from that case for all new pet owners is to get your animals chipped as soon as possible, because you never know when some crime like this could happen outside of your control.
Either outside of your control or as a result of even your own negligence. You know, you'd open a door, puppy runs outside. It was a good lesson for her. I feel sorry for her. She paid a lot of money for those dogs.
Yeah.
Next time she'll be more careful.
Case number 1109, Cuevas versus Salazar. All parties, please step forward.
Carlos Cuevas is suing his former fiancée, Jessica Salazar, for a Chevy Tahoe and repair costs.
Okay. Mr. Cuevas, you and the defendant were in a long-term relationship of about 8 years. That relationship ended in 2019?
Correct.
When I say you were in a long-term relationship, you were in fact living together.
Correct.
You have children together?
No.
Do you have kids?
No.
Do you?
Yes.
How many?
1.
How old?
11.
So Ms. Salazar's child was living with you?
Correct.
Okay. While you were, at some point while you were together, a car was purchased, a Tahoe.
Correct.
In what year?
2016.
Was that the only car that was used by the two of you?
Yes.
No.
Hmm?
No.
Who had a car?
He did, and I also did.
So you each had a car plus the Tahoe?
Yes.
Okay. When the Tahoe was purchased, was there a loan?
Yes.
Who was the primary on that loan?
I was.
Was Miss Salazar the secondary on that
Yes.
loan? And was the title of the car in both your names?
Yes.
Who has the title?
I do.
Take it out, please.
Carlos takes a document from a file folder.
Would you just hand that to Kevin? Kevin's going to hold it. Now, you separated in 2019. In 2019, who took the Tahoe?
She did.
Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
In what month did you take the Tahoe?
On October 1st, 2019.
And you kept it until what month and year?
I kept it until November 26th of 2019. I stand corrected. I'm so sorry. November 30th.
Of 2019?
Correct.
So you kept it for about 2 months?
Correct.
And then she returned it to you?
Correct.
And you've had it ever since?
Correct.
You are paying the loan on the car?
The loan's paid off.
When did you pay off the loan?
The last payment was made in August.
And you have the Tahoe?
Correct.
And for the last 2 years, you've been driving the Tahoe?
Correct. That's my main transportation.
So what are you suing her for?
Because of the damages that the vehicle was in.
I contacted him.
When I received the vehicle was severely deteriorated. The engine was shot. I had to replace the engine.
Well, then you should have sued her in 2019. You're too late.
It gives you 2 years to sue.
Just a second. You're too late.
No, I have to disagree,
Well,
Judge.
I don't care whether you disagree with me or not. You have the car for 2 years. You still have the car. You paid off the car. She's not paying you $10,000. You don't want the car anymore. You bought it in 2016. It's 5 years old. Sell it. Keep all the money. You just need her. I don't care whether you agree or don't agree. She's going to sign over the title to the car to you.
And what about the damages?
She's going to sign over the title to the car to you.
I have to disagree, Judge.
I don't care what you agree with or disagree with, sir. You don't seem to understand. This isn't a dance. I ask you, you ask me. I'm telling you, you've had the car.
Let me show you the proof.
Not interested.
Let me show you something.
Not interested. Take the title, Kevin. Give it to the defendant. Look where she signs over the title to him. He can take the car. He can sell it. He can use it. He can give it to his new girlfriend. He can do whatever he wants with the car. It belongs to him.
I have to disagree, Judge.
I don't care if you agree or not. My happiness is not dependent on your happiness.
I had to pull money out of my retirement to pay for something that I wasn't responsible for because of her neglect.
Very good. Here's the title to the car. Go and sell it. Now, you have an equally ridiculous counterclaim.
Well,
your counterclaim is equally as ridiculous because you now want him to pay for half of the wedding deposits from 2 years ago.
Well, if it wasn't for his pettiness, I wouldn't have bothered the court with my case.
Well, good. Then I'm glad. Then I don't have to deal with it. So your counterclaim's dismissed, and now you own the car. Free and clear. Title's off. Bye. Thank you very much.
Court is adjourned.
Carlos.
I don't feel it was fair.
I'm very ecstatic about the decision. I felt like it was fair.
We signed a loan together, and she just left the car in my hands, broken.
Tried to contact him because he said that he would work on the car. Didn't want to work on the car.
The engine was completely totaled. I had to replace it.
I think that it was normal wear and tear.
Don't do it. It's not worth it.
Don't do it unless you're married.
Judy and Sarah.
There's a reason that courts say if you should bring an action in a timely way. Because in this case, the relationship's over, but everybody's had a couple of years to sort of think about it, and he's enjoyed this truck for 2 years, and all of a sudden, doink, light goes off, and says, well, I didn't like the way she returned the car, so I think I want $10,000.
It's important to file timely because also waiting signals things like that to the court, that there might be some other reason you didn't bring the action sooner, and then you waited too long, and maybe it stung a little bit more the longer you waited. But I think
for driveway damages and threats to his life.
Court come to order.
Judge Judy enters.
Be seated, please.
Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge. Case 1096, Stanford versus Jeffrey Hubbard.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Mr. Stanford, you purchased a home recently, and you purchased that home in order to fix it up and flip it, according to your complaint. When did you purchase the home?
It was in August of 2020.
How much did you pay for the house in August of 2020?
$15,000.
Tell me what kind of house it is.
It's your basic fixer-upper. It's a single-family, 3-bedroom, attic, basement, and it has a shared driveway.
And what do you expect to sell it for?
I recently had an offer for $85,000.
Oh, good for you. That's terrific. How much do you think you put into it?
Roughly $26,000, $27,000.
Still a very handsome profit. Do you live in the houses while you're renovating them?
Yes.
Who lives with you?
Just me. I have my children come over from time to time, but it's just me.
But you live there and work there. You do most of the work yourself?
Correct.
Terrific. Okay. Who is the owner of the house next door?
It is Karen Hubbard.
That would be you?
Yes.
Ever have any problem with her?
No.
No. Ever had any problem with him?
No.
You're fine. This is your tenant.
Yes.
They have problems with each other.
Yes.
Mr. Stanford, are you still living in the house?
Yes.
The only reason that you're suing Miss Hubbard is because it is your claim that Miss Jeffrey caused damage to a common driveway that the two of you share.
Correct.
And that her tenant damaged when you were redoing the driveway. You're also suing her for threatening you with a handgun. Miss Jeffrey is counterclaiming because she says you vandalized her car and you threatened her with a gun. Now, do you have photographs of the driveway?
Yes.
May I see it, please?
Dion hands photos to Kevin, who brings them to Judy.
And I see we have a screen up, so you also have video of this driveway.
No, I think that's their video.
You do?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'd like to take a look at it. Because what I gather is there's a common driveway, and then it sort of veers off into parking spaces behind the house for each one of the houses.
That is correct.
Is that correct, Ms. Hubbard?
Yes.
Okay. And whose car is in the front?
That is Kanisha's car, the white one.
And your car is behind her,
Correct.
blocking her.
Right.
What was your vehicle doing in the driveway?
That's where I've parked since I've moved into my home.
Well, you can't park there. That's the way he gets into his house,
He's
into his
never
parking.
parked there.
Just a sec. Is what you're telling me that there's no place behind the house for two cars to park?
There is, but my vehicles have been vandalized in the back of the home where there's no surveillance. So I do like to park my cars.
You can't do that. What are you, crazy?
He told both of us that it was not a shared driveway.
Just a second. You can't park there. That means that he can't get to his parking space behind the house. Okay, you're a tenant. The owner of the house next door and the owner of the house that you're renting have a shared driveway in order to access, and there has to be an owner and an easement someplace. Somebody has an easement to get to their back. Do you know which of you has the easement and which of you owns that driveway?
It's actually split right down the middle. My deed here says that it's so many feet that belong to me, so many feet that belongs to her.
What a horror show. You acknowledge that. Miss Hubbard.
Sent that to me. Yes.
He sent that to you?
Yes.
So, as far as you're concerned, you own half the driveway and he owns half the driveway.
Yes.
So that neither one of you could park your car and leave it there because you would be trespassing on the other's property.
Yes.
The fact that your tenant parks there because she likes to is not an excuse. You understand that?
Yes, I know.
Okay.
When we purchased the house, we were told that it was not a shared driveway.
Well, how is he supposed to get his car into his spot in the back? He's supposed to fly it over?
No, he agreed with us that it was not a shared driveway. I have text messages from him agreeing that it wasn't a shared driveway.
Oh, okay. I'd like to see that. Okay. So on what date did you become aware of the fact that he had information that suggested he was mistaken that it was a shared driveway?
It would have been May 6th.
Okay. And he said to you on May 5th, I just had the land surveyed and the driveway is shared. Can you send a picture of the paperwork so I can send it to her?
Yes, that's
to
what
her,
I said to him.
because they had been having trouble with the driveway.
Yes.
And her parking in the driveway. When did that trouble begin, Miss Jeffrey? When did you start parking in the driveway?
The day I moved in.
Okay, and that was April 1st?
Yes, ma'am.
But within the month, you learned that it was a shared driveway.
Yes.
Did you continue to park there?
Yes.
Well, you can't do that. Okay, and you told me you continued to park there because your car was getting vandalized.
Yes.
That's what you told me. On what date was your car first vandalized?
May 17th.
That's before he moved in.
He was still over there.
Just a second. That's before he moved in. Had you spoken to him before he moved in?
Yes.
How often?
The beginning of April, when I had moved in my place, he walked in my home and he said that the utility company that was placing my internet, that they needed to move their utility van. And I said they have to have access to the side of my house in order to provide service. When they're done, they'll move.
Okay.
He came to tell me that Spectrum Services needed to move their utility van out of the driveway.
And?
And I said when they're done performing service, they will move their van.
Why can't they move their van before?
He needed his equipment. That's where he chose to park.
Do you remember that date?
I remember it very well.
Okay. You want to tell me your version of what happened?
Caption coming up.
What was the shouting match about?
That she shouldn't park here while I'm busting up concrete because her car don't get damaged. So she tell me if my car gets damaged, I'm gonna blow your head off. And that's when she pulled a gun out.
Kenesha's eyes widen. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Dion, Kenesha, and Karen.
Dion Stanford claims his neighbor, Kenesha Jeffrey, and property owner, Karen Hubbard, owe for damages caused to their shared driveway. Kenesha is countersuing, claiming Dion owes for damages after he vandalized her cars.
Bottom line, what this case is about is you claim that you did, in fact, redo the driveway after it was found out that it belonged both to you and Miss Hubbard, that the concrete work was done and you had it coned off so that nobody would park on it until it was set, and the tenant parked on it and damaged the fresh driveway.
Correct.
That's what the case is about.
Right.
And your claim that you were threatened by the defendant and or family member. By her or a family member?
No, by her. She called a couple uncles over. They didn't threaten me. They were more or less.
All right. So that was nasty conversation. Since she's not alleging that you had a gun and you're not alleging that she had a weapon.
It's been a couple of cases where she pulled a weapon out on me.
Oh, that's terrible. Not neighborly. Makes things very uncomfortable.
Right, right.
I don't know whether he's moving or whether he's staying in the house, but that's a very unpleasant situation for everybody to be in. Tell me what your version of what happened on the 17th.
I pulled up to the house, and her car was parked in the driveway. Spectrum wasn't there. There was no utility truck there. I actually went in the house to introduce myself because I had never talked to her before.
That was on May 17th.
This is in April, like the end of April 24th, somewhere around there.
Oh, that was about the time.
That's when I first found out she had lived there, because there was a previous tenant there that we had no problems at all. She pulled to the back, I pulled to the back, everything was cool.
Go ahead.
So I go over to introduce myself, go in, I say, hi, I'm Dion, I'm next door on the house. I was gonna start working on the driveway, so I need you to pull to the back or park on the street because I'm about to start busting up concrete. So she tells me that Karen told her that the driveway wasn't shared. So I said, okay, I'll get in touch with Karen. And these are the text messages that I sent Karen.
Okay, but I have a copy of that. When I bought the house, they said it was.
You're right.
I'll have a surveyor come out because I was going to repave half the driveway that they didn't do. But if it's not my land, I wonder why they only paved half.
I was being sarcastic.
Okay, and then you took a picture from the website?
No, that's what she did.
She did. And then you wrote, looks like you're right, my fault. That was a 310.
Correct.
And then on May 5th, 2021, you say, I just had the land surveyed and the driveway is shared. She says, can you send a picture of the paperwork so I can send it to her, please? Kevin, I'd like to see the paperwork that Mr. Stanford sent to Miss Hubbard.
This is the paperwork you sent to her?
Yes, that's from my deed.
Dion hands documents to Kevin, who brings them to Judy. She reviews them.
So each of you own 3.5 feet. Is this what he sent you?
Yes.
Okay, so you're accepting this as it's a shared driveway. Each of you own a piece of it.
Yes.
Okay, and what people are supposed to do is to park in the back.
Yes.
Okay, so now we're in April. Tell me what happened after April.
After I told her about the it's shared, and I told her I was gonna start busting the concrete up so I could get new concrete down, I roped off the front of the driveway down with caution tape. I'm in my driveway jackhammering concrete. Out the blue, she pulls up like a bat out of hell, run through the caution tape and come about this close to hitting me. So I then dropped the jackhammer down and walked towards the car to ask her what the problem is. She hurries back out, zips down the street. I go back to doing what I was doing. Next thing I know, she come pull back up, her uncles pull up. So we get in a shouting match. I tell her uncle.
What was the shouting match about?
That she shouldn't park here while I'm busting up concrete because her car don't get damaged. So she tell me if my car gets damaged, I'm gonna blow your head off. And that's when she pulled a gun out. So at that time, I walked back around to my house to, you know, put some distance between us. So her uncles calm her down. She goes in the house. I continue to go back to doing the concrete. Police pull up. They come, talk to me first. I let them know what was going on. They went in the house with her. They discussed whatever they had to discuss with her. They come back out, and God is my witness. Both officers told me.
You can't tell me what they told you.
Okay.
Seriously.
Basically.
Not basically.
Yeah.
Not anyway. So the officers came out. As a result of their discussions, were you told to stop breaking up the cement?
No, they said, go ahead.
Don't tell me what they said.
Okay.
Did you continue to break up the old cement?
Yes.
He did stop. He did not continue breaking up that. The police made him stop.
Well, eventually it was continued.
Right.
Because he broke up all the cement and then he put down a new cement driveway.
Yes.
That benefited you.
Yes.
And if you lived in that house, think about this before you answer. And if your neighbor, at his expense, was improving your property by making a cement driveway, would you let the cement dry before you pulled into the driveway?
I would.
You would, because that's what a reasonable person would do, right?
Yes.
Reasonable person would say, this is wet cement, and there are cones here for a reason.
Yes.
Right? So I'm going to let it completely dry. I'm going to treat this house as if it's my own, right? Instead of parking on not fully cured cement. You would have done that.
Yes.
Because you are a reasonable person.
Yes.
And because you don't have a terrible temper.
Correct.
Right. Now, if somebody did in fact park on wet cement, you would consider that irresponsible behavior.
Yes.
And the fact that there are cautionary tapes or cones suggesting that this is wet would, as a reasonably prudent person, suggest to your mind, gee, I'm going to see whether this is cured.
Yes.
Your tenant didn't do that, right?
Correct.
Okay. Did you discuss, Miss Hubbard, with your tenant the fact that she drove on the cement driveway that wasn't completely cured?
No.
No. Did the plaintiff discuss with you?
Yes.
Do you remember the date that he called you?
I do.
What was the date?
Well, I have the voicemail.
Okay.
Caption coming up.
You're not suggesting that he took nails and hammered them into your tire. The only proof that you have that he had anything to do with the problem with your tire is that he said to you, that's what happens when you park in people's driveway. I'm not hearing that somebody vandalized your car.
The courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Dion, Kenesha, and Karen.
Dion Stanford is accusing his neighbor, Kenesha Jeffrey, of damaging his new driveway. Kenesha claims Dion vandalized her cars in retaliation.
Do you remember the date that he called you?
I do.
What was the date?
Well, I have the voicemail.
Okay.
Hey, Karen, this is Dion next door. I really need you to come over so you can see how your tennis is costing you money, because I just got this concrete poured on Friday. It takes 5 to 7 days for it to cure. They already parked on my new concrete. So if my concrete cracked, one of y'all gonna owe me $5,000. So like I said, I need you to come over so we could get an understanding in front of these tenants, or we gonna have problems.
So what did you do when you got the call from him? Which was very calm. The demeanor was a calm demeanor.
Mm-hmm.
I have to tell you, if 20 years ago or 10 years ago, that were my husband and somebody did that, you couldn't play the recording on a PG program. So his message was relatively calm. You're the landlord. What action do you take?
I called her.
And what did she say?
She said she did not park on the concrete.
This is the photograph. I assume that that's your car.
Yes.
And I assume that those are cones.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there is a problem here because it looks as if the tire of your car is on concrete that's chipping. So is what you're telling me that there was never a time while these cones were up that you pulled in to the driveway and either left your car or went into the back? I just want to make certain that that's what you're telling me, because I've read your answer. Is what you're telling me that while the cones were up, because you saw...
Still right there.
Okay. Is what you're telling me that while the cones were up, immediately after the concrete was poured, and several days thereafter, you did not pull your car onto the driveway? Is that what you're telling me?
You said while the cones were there. Yes, the cones are still there.
No, that's not what I'm asking you. You seem like an intelligent person. You see, because he's not crazy. I have to make a picture based upon common sense and my 7-odd decades on this planet as to why this man would call your landlord and say, my concrete is not cured yet, and your tenant has her car on the driveway if it wasn't so. This is his business, and I'm getting the impression that this was an annoyance for you. You started out by saying to me, I parked the car in the driveway because my car was vandalized, and that's the only way I can secure video or footage of my car's security by parking it in a driveway. That's not a reason. The answer is get another security camera in the back. That's the answer, not to park in the driveway.
Okay.
Perfect. You do understand that?
Yes.
Because that's the way we started this case. I parked there because my car was vandalized. Now, I see that there's concrete here, and I see that there's one chip in the concrete that you showed me. That one chip in the concrete is not worth $6,000. Do you understand?
I do.
Because worst case scenario, you chip out that piece of concrete and you lay another piece of concrete. And there's no question that she parked her car there.
Right.
None at all. Okay, so now give me a rough estimate of what you think it's going to cost to fix that patch, which is the only damage that I see, the only proof of damage that I see.
Probably about $900 to $1,100.
Okay. They're going to pay for that.
Appreciate it.
They're going to pay for that. Now, you have a counterclaim. And your counterclaim is that the plaintiff vandalized your car.
Yes.
I'm waiting for the dates and the proof.
There were 2 of my vehicles that were vandalized.
I just need the dates and the proof that he did it.
Can I sit down?
Yeah, sure. You have to sit down?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Karen sits.
Okay, she's going to show me that her cars were vandalized. I'd like to see that, and then I'd like to see proof that the plaintiff is the person who vandalized your car.
Oh.
Let me see what, don't speak. You wanted to sit down.
I needed to add something. I didn't know. Okay. Sorry.
Karen rises.
The day that they got in the big fight and the police were there, and I spoke to Dion because he had threatened to set the house on fire.
Did you hear that?
No.
Okay,
no.
I don't want you to tell me anything that you didn't hear.
No, I'm going to tell you what he said to me because
Fine.
I told him.
Then you tell me.
You can't threaten her. You know that you're going to set the house
Just
on
a second.
fire.
Listen to me. I'm not hearing that. That's what she told you.
Okay, but I'm telling you what I told him. And then what he told me was, I don't threaten people. I'll do what I need to do to get her out, whatever it is.
Okay, now you can sit
down.
down.
That's what he said.
Okay, Miss Jeffrey, is Kevin bringing me all the evidence that you have of the damage to your car and that the plaintiff did that damage to your car?
I don't have proof that he did it to my car, but when I did approach him about the situation, his verbal statement.
Just a second. So the answer is you have no proof that he damaged either of your cars.
No.
There came a time when you say you approached him, and that was after the vandalizing of your cars.
Yes.
What did you say to him?
I said, there are nails and a razor blade in my tire that came from your debris, and he said that's what you get for parking in people's driveways.
You're not suggesting that he took nails and hammered them into your tire.
The razor blade was in
just
the
a
heat.
second. You're not suggesting that. I mean, I build homes, and I know what happens when you have people building out. There are nails, there are screws, there are whatever. I'm so vigilant. If I go into any community parking lot, I look down to see if there are screws. But I know about debris that comes from a house being remodeled. So the only proof that you have that he had anything to do with the problem with your tire is that he said to you, that's what happens when you park in people's driveway, because it started out with there was debris all over the driveway. I'm not hearing that somebody vandalized your car.
He indeed did. Why is there a razor blade?
I don't know why. I don't answer questions.
And the debris is in the back of the home.
Proof.
Not in the driveway where I park.
Proof, madam, that he vandalized your car.
That's why he doesn't want me to park on camera.
Okay. Your counterclaim's dismissed. Judgment for the plaintiff of the amount of $900. We're finished here. Thank you very much.
Court is adjourned.
Dion, then Kenesha.
I think the judge was fair.
Because he's a liar and a narcissist.
Like I said, it's just been a hassle and an inconvenience.
He's bad for our neighborhood.
I'm selling it and I'm gone.
Judy and Sarah.
I think, Sarah, the only saving grace for these...
At Tennyson for travel costs and his share of a vacation package.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy.
Have a seat, please.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning, Kevin.
Case number 1117, Ford Burner versus Tennyson.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Your last name is Ford?
Yes, Your Honor.
This is your mom?
Yes,
And she's technically here because she paid for some part of a trip.
that is correct. Yes.
You could sit down for me.
Thank you.
Glenda sits.
You two dated for a relatively short period of time. During that short period of time, you did one of the most foolish things that people do when they're just dating. Sort of feels as if it brings them together. You bought what I used to call a timeshare, but this really isn't a timeshare. It's called a vacation package. That's what I read.
That is correct.
You bought it for 2 years, from July of 2019 to July 2021.
Yes.
And you're going to explain to me what it is that you get for that. You know, I allowed my mind to float, and it sort of suggested to me that they had several places around the country where you could go and have a vacation and pay something, but you knew you were going to get that space, that particular, a one-bedroom, a two-bedroom, whatever it was. And they were nice places, places that you wouldn't ordinarily go. So far, is that relatively what it is?
Yes, basically.
Yes. Anyway, to make a long story short, the vacation package lasted longer than the relationship, which is usually the problem. And then there was a whole kerfuffle about who paid and a trip that you were supposed to take that you say he canceled, and that you had to make alternative arrangements and you didn't have enough money. So that's where your mother came in. She paid part of the cost of that trip, so she wants to be reimbursed because you all say that's his fault. And he says, me, I didn't do anything. Nothing. Okay, so let's start with Once Upon a Time. Once Upon a Time you met when, where, and how?
We started talking the end of May 2018. We met about a week later, June 8th, 2018.
At the time that you met, you were living in your own home. You have a child?
That is correct, yes.
How old is your child?
She's 8.
And you, sir, where were you living?
In Boonville.
By yourself?
Yes.
That's not correct, Your Honor. He was living with his mother.
Well, she has Alzheimer's. I take care of her.
You were living in her house?
My house. I was taking care of her.
Is the house owned by your mother or you?
No, me. It was just a rental home that she lived with me.
And she paid the bills for.
Oh.
Sorry.
Don't do that again. Was that what you did as a full-time job to take care of your mom?
Yeah, at that time, yes.
When did you first go on vacation? When you bought this package?
For the package, the first time that I used the vacation package.
No, the first time you went to a place and bought the vacation. You went there in order to buy a vacation package.
The week of July 14th, 2019.
You hadn't bought it at that time yet?
That is correct.
Right.
You used to get these things all the time. Come, we'll give you a free weekend or a free night, and then you go to a place and they put you in a room with a lot of other people, and then they show you a video. I've had these cases before. And then before you leave, you say, oh, that would be so idyllic. We could go travel together. Anyway, it's very good marketing. And so on July 14th, you decided to buy this package. Tell me about the cost of this vacation package. Tell me what the contract was. Do you have the contract?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Yes, ma'am.
Ashley produces a document, then hands it to Kevin.
There you go.
He brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
Did you read all this before you signed it, by the way? I'm just curious.
Not well enough.
No, I'm just curious. I mean, everybody initialed every single thing, and then you both signed it. I just looked at this briefly. I'll have Sarah look at it over. How much did it cost for the 2 years?
It would end up costing $4,235.20.
So $4,200 for the both of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
That you were obligated to pay monthly?
Yes.
Now, there's lots of stuff there with points. You can use points. You get points. What did you get points for?
So it was 400,000 points, and then each resort and each night has a point value.
So if you go to a 5-star place, you use so many points. If you go to a 3-star place, you use so many points.
Basically, yes.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
How much do you pay monthly?
The payment is $107.84 for the contract.
$107.84 a month for 2 years.
There's also, there's also an $1,000 deposit that was included in that.
Okay, so I assume you paid the deposit.
I did.
What?
I paid.
That is not correct.
I assume when I say you, the joint you paid the deposit.
Not that day.
What day?
It came at later as a credit card. We were not aware that we were going to be getting an $1,000 credit card that day.
So it wasn't explained that you were getting a credit card and there were points and whatever. Getting a headache. It's so much easier to call and make a reservation at a hotel and say, I feel like going on vacation today or next week or next month or in 2 months. That's just my idea of freedom.
Ashley nods. Caption coming up.
Understand this. People who choose to live together without benefit of marriage should not engage in buying things jointly. A pet, a car, a vacation package, anything. Because 50% of the marriages in this country fail, and substantially more relationships fail.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Ashley and Chad.
Ashley Ford claims her ex-boyfriend, Chad Tennyson, owes for travel costs and his share of a vacation package they purchased together.
Okay, who paid the deposit? You'd say you do. Tell me, Mr. Tennyson, how you paid the deposit of $1,000.
I gave her the cash.
When?
November.
November of 2019.
Yes.
Be very careful about this answer, Miss Ford. Did Mr. Tennyson give you $1,000?
He did not give me $1,000.
Did he give you any money?
Yes, he did.
How much?
That day that he's talking about, $600. Prior to that, he had deposited $80 into my bank account, and another time he had deposited $75 into my bank account.
80 and 75. So far $755.
That is correct.
That he paid towards the deposit.
Yes, ma'am.
So you put in $245 towards the deposit. He paid $755.
That sounds about right.
Okay. Then you had to pay by month. For how many months did you pay?
I have paid 11 months.
So you paid for 11 months, and the obligation is now terminated.
That is correct, yes.
And the timeshare is over.
Yes, ma'am.
So either somebody is getting sued or he paid the other months.
Yes, ma'am.
Which is it?
He paid the other months.
So he paid the other months.
Yes, ma'am.
So he paid 13 months.
Yes, ma'am.
And the majority of the deposit.
Yes, ma'am.
In what month and year did the two of you break up?
July 2019, about 6 days after.
So now the membership is paid up. You paid less than he did for the deposit.
Yes, ma'am.
And you paid less than he did for the membership,
yes,
for the annual membership. So now I'd like you to tell me what you're suing him for.
Absolutely.
Because your lawsuit says balance of vacation package, $526.
That is the balance that was due after the May payment. And
you pay that.
I'll explain. I'm sorry.
There's no explanation. Paid the majority of the...
I wasn't supposed to pay anything. After we broke up, I wanted to cancel the package. We were within our 10-day grace period. It's in the contract.
I guarantee you that you would not have canceled this package.
I called and they stated that...
You can't tell me...
You're right.
You can't tell me. If you can show me...
There's a 10-day termination window in the contract.
I'll look into it.
While she's looking for that, you broke up in July of 2019, the same month. How many times did you use the vacation package?
A total of
Think carefully. How many times did you use?
I was actually able to use it one time.
How many times did you use it, sir?
0.
You have any information that Mr. Tennyson used it at all?
He did not use it at all. He had said...
Don't tell me what he said. I'm still not getting what you're suing him for, because right now you have no lawsuit that I'd be interested in.
I understand.
It appears to me that Mr. Tennyson has had 0 benefit. He paid for 13 months. Mm-hmm. He paid the majority of the deposit. So right now, I'm not seeing any basis for a lawsuit.
So as I said, Your Honor, I wanted to cancel within
I don't care whether you did or not. You went on a vacation. You went on a vacation afterwards.
He said he did not want to cancel the package. He wanted to keep it, and he was going to be responsible for it. I have text messages and voicemail stating.
Just a second. I would like to see if that's the case, unless he acknowledges. Did you say to her, I want to keep the package and I'll pay for the whole thing?
Yeah, I said, yes, we'd do it 50-50 because she couldn't afford it.
That is not correct.
No.
Never said 50-50.
That's not what I asked you, sir. What I asked you, Mr. Tennyson, was, did you say to her, after you had broken up, within this cancellation period, did you say to her, keep the package, I'll pay for the whole thing?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to see. What date did you break up, Mr. Tennyson?
Honestly, I don't even remember.
No, you have to remember. You went on vacation on the 19th.
A week later.
Where were you when you broke up?
At the house.
At whose house?
Ashley's.
At her house?
Yes.
Tell me what happened.
We got into an argument and we had broken up.
Well, tell me what the argument was about.
It was drinking.
Okay. When you had that argument on the 29th, you were fighting over his drinking?
Yes, ma'am.
Is he drunk?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did he come home drunk?
Yes, ma'am. He came home drunk.
So you told him he had to leave?
Yes, ma'am.
He left the house within 15 days of your signing this contract?
Yes, ma'am.
Now I'd like to see the text message.
There's just some of them right there. I have...
Just a second.
Kevin hands a document to Judy.
Your Honor, there is a 10-day grace period, but it has to be submitted to Wyndham in writing of the intent to cancel.
Okay. This is in September. This is well after the cancellation period.
Yes, there were no messages exchanged right after then.
Right. So he's paid for 13 months.
Yes, ma'am.
And you paid for 11, and he paid for the majority of the deposit. So I'm not entertaining that. What else do you think he's responsible for? According to you, you went on a trip with your daughter and someone canceled the reservation.
Yes. So, as I said...
Understand this. People who choose to live together without benefit of marriage should not engage in buying things jointly. A pet, a car, a vacation package, a timeshare, a ring, a Picasso, anything, because 50% of the marriages in this country fail, and substantially more relationships fail. So you don't know somebody for a month and then go get a vacation package. He did the right thing. He paid for at least half. I'm not hearing any of it. Do you understand?
Yes.
Great. Now, you say that you and your daughter used the points again. You went once and you were using the points again. From when to when?
I scheduled it in February of 2021. Our vacation was supposed to be June 11th through the 17th, 2021.
Okay. And what you say is, on the way there, you were driving there with your daughter to this vacation package, and you were advised once you got there that it was canceled?
No, ma'am. As we were driving, my phone beeped. I looked down, and it was an email stating your reservation was canceled. I pulled over onto the side of the road. I read the email. It stated my reservation was canceled.
I'd like to see it.
Yes, ma'am.
Ashley produces a document.
Email that I received, and I'll go ahead and give you the cancellation policy as well.
No, don't give me a cancellation policy. Just give me the email.
Kevin hands the document to Judy, who reviews it.
Okay, so your reservation, they said, had been canceled.
Caption coming up.
Defendant so far has been a stand-up guy and paying for 13 months of a club he didn't use, that you used, that he paid for 3/4 of the down payment. You paid 1/4 of it. Doesn't sound to me as if he was a cad.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Ashley and Chad.
Ashley Ford has accused her ex-boyfriend, Chad Tennyson, of canceling her vacation reservation the day it was starting. Chad claims the cancellation was a mistake made by the resort.
Okay, so your reservation, they said, had been canceled.
Yes, ma'am. So I pulled over to the side of the road, and I called. I said, this is incorrect. We're actually on our way. We're driving.
You can't tell me what they said to you.
Okay, that is fine. So
you got a notice that your reservation was canceled.
Got a notice the reservation was canceled. I called and I asked what had happened. They told me. I won't tell you. I won't tell you what they told me. So that prompted me to call Mr. Tennyson. I asked him, can I tell you what he told me in that conversation?
Absolutely.
Okay. In that
He's here. He's a party.
Okay.
He can defend himself.
In that conversation, I asked him how he could cancel our vacation. We're on our way.
Do you remember a phone call that you received from her on the road?
Yes, she called me.
Okay. I want you to relate to me the conversation. Be very careful to tell me the truth.
She just accused me right off the bat of canceling, and if I would call Wyndham with her, in which I said I didn't have a problem with doing that.
Did you call Wyndham with her?
No, because she sent me a text message just going straight into an attack about cancellation, so I didn't.
Okay. Did you, Mr. Tennyson, cancel this reservation?
No.
He absolutely
Okay. Did you know that Miss Ford was going on a vacation and using the package?
No, I hadn't.
You got no notice?
No notice, no, I didn't know anything.
Okay. So the phone call that you got from her in June of this year was the first time you had spoken to her in how long?
6 months, 7 months.
Okay. Now it's your obligation to show me proof that Mr. Tennyson canceled this reservation.
Yes, ma'am. I said that I would give him a call back. I would call Wyndham and ask that he would stay by his phone and answer. I called shortly thereafter, and he did not answer. That is when I sent the text stating that he had canceled it, or that I assumed he had canceled it, or was told. This is
Just
an
a
email.
second. You can't slip it in there. All I want from you is proof. He's been so far relatively honest with me, and he's been relatively fair with you.
Yes, ma'am.
He's paid for a vacation package, more than half of it, that he never used. You and your daughter were at least going to use it twice. So far, you know, aside from the fact that he had, or hopefully had, a drinking problem and no longer has it, that would be smart. I need non-hearsay proof that he canceled this reservation. He says he did not.
This is an email from Wyndham stating...
No, don't tell me what it stated.
With a screenshot from their system.
Don't tell me what it says.
Ashley hands the document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
Would you bring up your phone, please? Give the phone to Kevin. Kevin, would you hand that phone to Sarah?
Kevin hands Chad's phone to Sarah.
Sarah, go to June 10th, 2021, 5:18 p.m. It would be Wyndham Club reservation, perhaps. The thing that's interesting to me, Miss Ford, is that according to what you've given me, at 5:18 p.m., they claim that the reservation was canceled, and you were supposed to check in on the 10th.
On the 11th.
And you had made this booking 6 months in advance.
Yes, ma'am.
So it was a long time. And within 8 minutes, they contacted you
I contacted them.
because you had received a cancellation notice.
Yes, ma'am.
So within 8 minutes of him allegedly calling them, they notified you that the reservation has been canceled. You said, hold it, I didn't cancel that reservation. And the club said to you, I'm sorry, we already gave away that room.
Yes, ma'am.
That sounds suspect to me unless I can find something here from his email account. It is beyond my imagination that within 9 minutes of receiving this cancellation, contacting you, all in that 9-minute period, saying this reservation has been canceled, you pulling over, calling them immediately, saying this is all a mistake, that they gave away your accommodations.
And I can't tell you what
Just
they
a
told
second.
me, can I?
I know you cannot tell me what they told you, because unless she can find something in there, he's not responsible for your vacation. I don't find what he's told me suspect.
But
if I can find some communication with him, that's fine. This is still hearsay,
So
and
why
I don't
wouldn't I have
have.
gone up to-
Why?
Why wouldn't I
Why?
have gone?
Because it has been somewhat of an experience between myself and family members and friends who have these club arrangements. Things happen and there's double booking. There are problems with reservations. Defendant so far has been a stand-up guy and paying for 13 months of a club he didn't use, that you used, that he paid for 3/4 of the down payment. You paid 1/4 of it. Doesn't sound to me as if he was a cad. So I'm not figuring out why somebody who hadn't spoken to you in 6 months would call and cancel an upcoming reservation that he knew nothing about, unless she can find something in his email. Then
I can
then
prove
a
that
mistake.
he knew about the vacation, not necessarily that one, but whenever I booked the one in October, I never told him about that. He knew about that because I have messages where he was telling me, enjoy the vacation.
I'm not talking about in October. I'm talking about the following June. You hadn't spoken to him in 6 months.
Right. Your Honor, I can prove a history that he is spiteful and that he is very vindictive and...
Madam, this is not Dr. Phil. It's a court.
I understand.
And so far, I don't find any of his conduct egregious, or that he took financial advantage of you.
There are emails from the 10th and the 11th, but none regarding the vacation package.
Nothing on the 10th. And there are other emails there on the 10th.
Yes.
Okay. Did you finally have a vacation with your daughter?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. And you paid for it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. The case is dismissed. We're finished here. Thank you.
Court is adjourned.
Ashley, then Chad.
Never takes responsibility for his actions.
She has a right to how she feels.
He denies everything. He constantly goes to insults, mean jabs. He's like a child whenever he's angry.
Just a bunch of jabs. Just childish.
Obviously, don't be stupid and go into any type of a contract with someone that you're not married to.
Sarah.
That defendant had thousands of emails there. Scrolling through took a minute, but there was nothing from Wyndham. There was nothing from the date, and I agree with you that I don't think he would have gone through all of those emails as I did and delete just the one email.
I actually thought what he did, continuing to pay without using the program, knowing that she was using the program, was pretty reasonable. The lesson is never...
Of music festival tickets.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy enters, then takes her seat behind the bench.
Be seated, please.
Kevin.
Hello, Judge. Case number 1167, Oku Mamboa versus Walker.
Judy looks at the docket.
That's a mouthful. Oku Mamboa.
Moaboa.
How about O?
Yeah, that works, Jackie.
Does that work? Does that work for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Miss O, tell me about this concert you wanted to attend.
It is a music festival. It's called Rolling Loud. They have different locations. Basically, once the state started lifting their quarantine orders, the one in Miami was the first one that occurred. So that happened in July of this year, 2021.
And that was the concert you wanted to attend?
That was the concert I wanted to attend.
According to your complaint, you purchased tickets from the defendant, sent her money. She never sent her tickets. She says you never sent her the money. That's what the case is about. How did you locate the tickets?
What do you mean by locate the tickets?
If I want tickets to, I don't go to music festivals. I'm much too old for music festivals. But if I wanted theater tickets, I call the box office, ticket agent. But I know that young people do things differently today. Their lives and their worlds are all tied up in the internet. So just to educate myself.
Okay, so there's a lot of ways to purchase tickets. You can either go to the hosting website, which is the Rolling Loud. You can also go through third parties' website. And then the one
How do you get to the third party website?
You can Google.
You just go to the website.
And depending on what concert you want to go to, you can just type it in and it will pull up like pricings. And that way, people who want to sell their tickets, I'm able to see them and I can pay for them and then have them get sent to me.
Is that what you did with the defendant?
No, what I did, and I was going to...
So eliminate number one and number two.
Yes, so I went the route of joining a private group via Facebook.
And what's the name of the private group?
Rolling Loud.
Okay, Rolling Loud.
Yes.
I'd just like to see what that looks like if it still exists.
Sure. It does.
It does?
Yes.
Just so that I understand it.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
You can always learn something.
Yeah.
So it looks like there's a couple different groups. The one she's talking about is a private group, but it looks like a few of them have been taken down since then, since the event has already happened.
Right, that's what I thought. But could I just take a look and see what it looks like?
Sure.
A web page on a tablet.
So this is the official Facebook page. And then you can go to who else is following this page, that many people, and they create their own private groups in order to exchange tickets or sell them.
Okay. And is that how you found the defendant?
Yes.
On what date?
I believe my first day of talking with her was June 4th. I don't know.
Speaking to her over the internet or?
Over the internet, through Facebook, yes. I responded to her Facebook post. She had mentioned she had 2 VIP.
Do you have that Facebook post?
I don't have the Facebook post. I just have the messages that me and her exchanged.
May I see it?
Yes, you may.
Where do you live, by the way, Miss O?
I stay in Monterey Park, California.
And you?
St. Louis, Missouri.
Jacqueline produces a document. Judy reviews an exchange of messages.
What was wrong with your car, Miss Walker?
I was having transmission issues, or what I thought at the time was transmission issues.
How did that manifest itself?
Just, it wasn't running properly.
How do you think I knew you were having car trouble?
Because it was in the messages.
No, your messages are deleted.
Okay.
Hers aren't. You can't delete her messages, but you deleted yours.
Yes, ma'am.
So how do you think I know you had car trouble?
I'm not quite sure. It might have been something that I wrote in the Rolling Loud chat that I was having car troubles, and that's why I was trying to sell the tickets.
Oh.
That I'm not 100% sure.
No, I'm only looking at the text messages. Hers that you didn't delete, but yours that you did delete. I want you to dwell on that for a moment before you give me the next couple of answers. How did I know that you were having car trouble when you purposely deleted all your messages to her?
I don't know.
I understand that you don't know, I want you to think about how I knew you had car trouble with your car when you don't say it in here. Think about that.
Okay.
I hope it makes you uncomfortable for the next couple of minutes.
Raven smiles. Judy continues reviewing the messages.
So you were going to go with a friend, and each of you were paying half of the money. The 2 tickets were $1,500, which the defendant needed to pay for her car.
Correct.
Which wasn't working.
Yeah.
You have proof to me that you sent her the money for the
I
ticket?
sure do.
I'd like to see it.
So I made my payments via Cash App. I also have her confirmation of her sending me the money, and then I sent the whole...
I see it in your texts to her. You got your money first, and you were waiting for your friends, sent your friends. She was at work. She'd be home in 15 minutes.
Correct, yes.
Judy glares at Raven. Kevin hands Judy Jacqueline's documents. She reviews them.
Okay, now I'm waiting for your story. Make it a good one, Miss Walker. Make it one that this face that knew you were having car trouble is going to believe and understand.
I met her through the Facebook group, like she mentioned. We messaged for probably about a week, I will say, just back and forth. We talked about her sending me the money. I am aware that her friend was going to send me the other half. We talked about the address that I was supposed to send the tickets to, all this other stuff. She never sent me the money, and that's why nothing came of it.
Explain to me why you deleted your texts.
Because she was someone that I wasn't talking to anymore. There was
Judy directs Raven's attention toward her. Caption coming up.
I want anybody to raise their hand if they've ever just deleted their portion of a conversation, leaving only the dialogue of the other person. Look around.
And later today.
Oh, well, there is a caveat here.
May I say something?
Oh, no.
He wasn't truthful to me. He didn't.
You asked me if you could say something. I said no. What part of no didn't you understand?
A man nods. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Jacqueline and Raven.
Jacqueline Okumwabwa claims ticket seller Raven Walker is responsible for the cost of music festival tickets she never received.
What I want to know is, say to myself, self.
Judy turns to Sarah, then to Whitney.
Why would I go through the trouble of just deleting my answers to somebody's texts? Why would I do that? We're going to do a survey here, Miss Walker.
Okay.
We have a gallery. We have 4 people here. I know this person intimately. I know that she uses her machine to communicate with the majority of the world. I don't know about Whitney that much. She's a tad older, but still uses the internet. Kevin, I'm not so sure how often he uses the internet. Feeling he'd rather be puttering around this house, fixing things, but maybe once in a while. And I don't know about the people here, but I see a lot of young people. I want anybody to raise their hand if they've ever just deleted their portion of a conversation that they've had with somebody. Just their portion of the conversation, leaving only the dialogue of the other person. Has anybody ever done that? Look around.
No one has raised a hand.
Not a soul. Do you know why?
Can I explain why I did it?
You just told me why you did it. You want to read back to me, Whitney, why she told me she did it? Just not logical, right?
Deleting the whole conversation.
Yeah, delete the whole conversation, maybe.
So you asked her, explain to me why you deleted your text. She said, because she was someone that I wasn't talking to anymore.
That's exactly right. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of, you sent $1,500?
Yes, I did.
$1,500, and she sent you no tickets?
She sent me no tickets.
We're done. Thank you very much.
Court is adjourned.
Raven.
She didn't send me any money, so it sucks that I have to give her something that I didn't receive.
Judge Judy, she saw the receipts for herself, so.
My transactions for my Cash App, there was nothing ever sent on that day. There was nothing ever sent, period.
Unfortunately, you gotta reap what you sow at some point, right?
Judy and Sarah.
Did you ever buy anything from a private person on the internet?
I personally have not. I'll buy them direct from the website, as she was mentioning. I've used those, but never just on Facebook or Craigslist or anything like that.
If you buy from a private person, what recourse do you have if you don't get the merchandise that you've agreed to?
Honestly, that's why I don't do it. I don't believe there really is one, and I think that someone who wants to get around the system and potentially scam people, that's the easiest way to do it.
I remember one case we had years and years ago, Sarah. Somebody advertising had a photo of the most current iPhone with a price, and the plaintiff sent the money for the phone and in return got the photograph of the phone.
I've seen many stories like that.
That was the case. And she said, well, that's what I was selling. It was a photograph of a phone. I said, this is a cautionary tale to anybody who purchases things from unknown people where you have no recourse.
I agree.
Case number 1166, Davis versus Paz. Please step forward.
Sherman Davis is suing furniture stager Julio Paz for storage fees and the cost of furniture.
Mr. Davis, let me see if I can briefly state what I believe your cause of action is. I believe your cause of action is in contract. Now, you own a property. Some 3 years ago, you asked the defendant, who was in the business of staging with furniture properties for the purposes of being either sold or rented, you asked him to stage an 8-room property. And you signed a contract, and the defendant did, in fact, stage a property that you wanted to rent. That's so correct. Far correct? You have to say this is both video and audio, so you can't?
Yes.
Yes. Good. What?
It's a small misunderstanding there in the sense that I sold it to him. I didn't stage it.
Do you have a contract?
Yeah,
Right. I'm surprised you don't have a copy of this contract. You're in business.
Oh, I have it right here.
So you have it on your phone?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been nice if you printed it out so that you had it. That would have been smart, because you're dealing with somebody who is not a millennial, who likes to see things that I can touch, that I can bang. If it's in the phone, I don't have it. In any event, you signed the contract, you staged it, that was 3 years ago. He says within 3 years you had an agreement, and it's in the contract, that you would buy back the furniture for which he paid $10,000.
That's correct.
From him for $3,500. And he advised you within that 3-year period that he wanted to exercise that part of the contract that says that you would buy back the furniture for $3,500, and you declined to do that. And as an excuse for declining to do that, I'm just telling you what his claim is, you say that he moved the furniture from where you had originally staged it someplace else. And that was your reason for not honoring the contract to buy back the furniture. Do I have that right?
Part of it.
What part is wrong?
That I never refused not to buy the furniture from him. On the contrary, I wanted to buy it. It was a great situation for us to buy it at the price we were buying it, only 30 cents on the dollar.
So?
Well, when he finally contacted me about the house being back off the market, or that he has sold it, that he would like to exercise the option for me to buy it, I said, sure, give me a couple of days. I'm doing a couple of stagings. We'll come by, check it out. If everything is in good condition, we'll buy it all. If not, we'll buy the pieces that are still, because it's been 3 years. So what happened, he goes, well,
that's not what the contract says.
That's not in storage. He goes, yeah, everything is in lockers. And I say, in lockers? I say, how do you expect me to inspect it if you put it in lockers and all the comforters and everything in boxes? You're going to have to take it out of the locker and put it anywhere that we can inspect it, because I'm not going to buy this lot blind.
Well, I have to see what the contract. I have to see what the contract says.
Yeah, we have a list of the furniture and the items. Okay.
May I see it, please?
Yep.
No, I want to see the contract.
Yes, that's a contract
Great.
with the list of furniture that he provided.
Okay. So let's go back just for a second. You did this contract in 2018. As it turned out, according to what I read in your complaint, your tenant didn't want the furniture.
Correct.
So you took out the furniture.
Yes.
And that was in 2018.
Yes.
What did you do with the furniture, Mr. Davis?
So the plan was...
I don't want to know what the plan was. I want to know he put the furniture in 8 rooms. You took the furniture out because the tenant said, I don't want that. I have my own furniture, whatever it is. I want to know in 2018, because I read everything. And I pick up nuances. What did you do with the furniture in 2018?
Caption coming up.
My son's girlfriend warned me that I shouldn't interrupt you because you will get angry, and I can't believe I'm doing it. She put it on my notes. Do not interrupt her. I apologize.
Do not interrupt.
Sarah nods. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Sherman and Julio.
Sherman Davis claims furniture stager Julio Paz broke their agreement when he refused to buy back staging furniture from Sherman.
Now, what did you do?
The original intent of the furniture.
I don't care what the intent was. It went into a staged unit for you to sell. That's what it was. Paid $10,000 for it. The tenant didn't want it. I'm not going to ask you the question again while you figure out what you're going to say to me. What you're going to say to me is the truth. What did you do with the furniture in 2018?
We moved the furniture out.
To where?
To a storage unit.
Immediately from the apartment house, the 8 rooms, you moved the furniture to a storage unit.
Yes.
What month and year?
The tenant occupied our house on December 21st, 2018.
Oh my God.
I have the lease agreement states that they moved in on December 21st.
Just a second. When did you put the furniture in storage?
So the furniture was put in storage the week prior to when they moved in.
So 12/10/2018. And it has remained in storage ever since?
Yes.
It has not been moved from the original storage unit?
No, it's been there the whole entire time.
Okay, so let's see what it says.
Judy reviews the contract.
Oh, well, there is a caveat here.
May I say something?
No.
He wasn't truthful to me. He didn't.
You asked me if you can say something. I said no. What part of no didn't you understand?
Okay, Your Honor.
Maybe your wife doesn't let you do that. Not me.
She left me for that too many years ago. Your Honor.
Well, there's a reason.
I got an ADD, so it's hard for me to listen. Sorry.
Is the furniture still in storage?
Yes.
Then how do you expect him to satisfy a condition of this agreement? Mr. Davis, this was a simple contract agreement. I was absolutely prepared to rule in your favor. Furniture should be in good, reasonable condition. How do you expect him to view furniture that has been packed in storage to see if it's in good and reasonable condition?
The furniture's there for him to come out to.
Oh, no. That's not on him. That's on you.
The furniture was never used, though. We just moved the furniture from the house to the storage.
You're asking him to believe that that's true. He's allowed to see whether mice got in the furniture in storage in 3 years, whether it's got mold and mildew after 3 years. It's your responsibility, yours, to lay it all out so that he can come and look at it, and then you fulfill that provision of the contract. He says he'll buy it back. It has to be in good and reasonable condition.
And I was willing to do that, but
Well, then I tell you what you do. You arrange for all the furniture to be unpacked in a location where he can view it and see that it is in good and reasonable condition, not eaten by rats, has no mold, has no mildew, all 8 rooms laid out. And you do that within 5 days.
Okay.
And
I'd love to buy it, Your Honor. Furniture prices went up 40% right now, so I'll get a great deal. I'd love to buy it from you. ADHD, Your Honor, I'm sorry. I apologize. My bad. My son's girlfriend warned me that I shouldn't interrupt you because her grandmother watched you for many years and you will get angry, and I can't believe I'm doing it. She put it on my notes. Do not interrupt her. I apologize.
Well, she should have added, do not interrupt her, especially when it appears to be you're winning.
Told me.
Do not interrupt her. When it appears you get exactly what you want. So, these are the ground rules. If you want him to buy back the furniture within 5 days from today, you arrange for the furniture to come out of storage. You give him 48 hours notice where the furniture will be totally laid out. You may have to rent a stage somewhere for a day. That's going to cost you money. But he doesn't have to buy a pig in a poke. And there's a condition precedent in your contract that the furniture has to be in good condition. Now, as far as I'm concerned, once your tenant didn't want the furniture, instead of putting it in storage, you're going to make the money up from the tenant anyway. You say to him then, in December, listen, before I put it in storage, you say you'd buy it back for $3,500. I'm prepared to eat the loss because I'm going to make it up in rent over the next 12 months. Instead, you put it in storage. He's not responsible for your storage. So within 5 days from today, on 48 hours notice, you're going to lay out all the furniture. If you don't do that, you don't get your money. Then it's your furniture. Do you understand?
Yes, but what about the storage fees?
He's not responsible for your storage fees. That's my ruling. I'm abiding by the terms of the written contract that you signed with him. Do you understand?
Okay.
Perfect. That's the ruling. You'll get a copy of it. Goodbye. Who was it? Your sister told you to be quiet?
I'm sorry?
Your sister!
No, it's my son's daughter.
I don't care. I withdraw that question. I don't care.
Court is adjourned.
Julio, then Sherman.
When he actually contacted me recently, all he told me was the house was sold. Now when I exercise my option for you to buy it.
Well, it's a little frustrating because I did reach out to him.
And he actually blamed me that the reason it was in storage was because I didn't get back to him quick, which was not true either.
About a year later, and he declined to come and pick up the furniture.
If I get the furniture, it will be a good thing for me because the furniture prices are super high because of the problem with the shipping overseas.
I mean, it's very dated furniture. It's furniture that's really undesirable.
I would love for him to actually call me, and I'll definitely will buy it. I need it.
Yeah, I'll follow. I'll pursue what the judge said. So.
Judy and Sarah.
It makes my work so easy when there's a contract. It's interesting. When I read that, the complaint and answer, you read it, it looked pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it did. I thought he really refused to abide by a portion of the contract, but it was really the plaintiff that did not satisfy the condition precedent to him buying back the furniture.
Which was to be able to look at it.
Yeah.
It's not his obligation to display it. It's the plaintiff's obligation to let him see whether after 3 years. I don't know whether I would rely on what happens to...
Hello guys, welcome back to another video. In this video we learn how to make a photo collage using Canva. A photo collage is a template in which you can add 4 to 5 photos or 3 to 4 photos. It depends on the template, and you can add the photos of your own choice. So all you need is a website, Canva, and a mobile phone and an internet connection. You can do this. It's a very easy process, and you will learn how to make a photo collage in just 5 minutes by watching this video. So let's go to the video.
Okay, first of all you have to install Canva from Play Store or App Store, or you can also use it on the browser. It will run on both of these sites. Okay, so you can use it on the PC or tablet or mobile phone or any Android device or Apple device. So all you need to do a simple task here and you will know how to make a collage using Canva. It's a very simple method. Even a man who doesn't know about any editing skills, he or she can also use Canva and create the photo collage. It will attract everyone. It will make your photos very beautiful. If you have 2 to 3 photos or 4 to 5 photos, I will discuss how to make a collage of them and make them more attractive. So first of all we will select a template and then you will add photos of your choice, and after adding the photos the collage is ready and we will download it by tapping on the download icon, and it will save in our gallery and we can send it to our friends or family members or anyone we want to. Okay, first of all search here photo collage. It's loading. It depends on your internet connection that how much time it will take to load the photos. You can add your own photos or can add the photos of your family members or anyone else. Okay, so you are seeing that Canva is showing me 16,732 templates, out of which some are for pro variant subscribers and some are for free variant subscriber. I am a free variant subscriber of Canva. So if you are a pro variant subscriber, you can use all the templates Pro version subscriber is a paid membership of Canva. So first of all, we will select this template and customize this. It's loading. Now tap on the image and delete the image. After deleting, you can see that you can add your photos from gallery by tapping on the gallery icon, and it will show you your gallery photos. And here is the method how to make a collage, and you can download the collage by tapping on the download icon here above. That's the simple method that how to make a photo collage. I hope that you like the video, and if you like the video, subscribe my channel, like my video. Okay, thanks for watching.